Deep below the island of Java, a 10-kilometer thick slab of the Indo-Australian tectonic plate is violently subducting, crushing and sliding beneath the Eurasian Plate. For centuries, the people living above this geological friction didn't measure subduction zones. They understood these deep physical rumblings as the movements of an unseen spirit kingdom dwelling inside the earth. That deep friction fuels Mount Merapi. Looming just north of Yogyakarta and its 3.5 million residents, it is the most active and deadly volcano in Indonesia. Predicting its eruptions historically relied entirely on a spiritual guardian known as the Juru Kunci. He interpreted wisik, magical sensorial signs from nature, like shifts in animal behavior or distinct dreams, to warn the surrounding villages. In the 20th century, Western science arrived. Initiatives like the Merapi project deployed dense networks of broadband seismometers to track the mountain's tremors with mathematical precision. Having exact data did not automatically save lives. The local population trusted their mystical traditions, while the scientists relied solely on their deformation graphs. When the mountain awoke, the two sides possessed entirely different vocabularies for the exact same threat. Disaster mitigation researchers are now adopting a framework called Ecosemiotics, the study of how human cultures interpret signs from their environment. Under this lens, Javanese myths represent centuries of highly accurate observational data, carefully encoded into cultural metaphors. Decoding the mountain's warnings requires treating hard science and ancient mythology as two distinct dialects of the exact same physical language. This diagram shows Merapi's deep magma reservoir at the Moho depth, connecting to the Opak River fault. Notice how this tectonic alignment perfectly mirrors the sacred Javanese cosmological axis, a direct spiritual line from the volcano's peak straight down to the southern sea. When indigenous stories describe restless spirits moving through the deep earth, they are describing the exact same physical phenomenon as a dynamic magma supply pushing upward from the mantle. Long before the invention of seismic tomography, indigenous mythologies successfully mapped the region's deep underground plumbing. As volatile magma rapidly rises into the intermediate reservoir, pressure builds. The physical mountain actually bulges outward and fractures. Modern volcanologists track this inflation using electronic distance measurement tools and tiltmeters, catching physical changes down to the millimeter. Traditional elders tracked this exact same deformation for generations. They simply looked elsewhere, observing minute shifts in the physical alignment of stone temples and changes in the flow rate of local springwater. Before a major eruption, the volcano also produces low-frequency acoustic noise from block and ash avalanches. Scientists detect these using specialized infrasonic microphones days in advance. The local population heard this same acoustic data, translating it into the spectral market, a mythological concept where unseen spirits could be heard murmuring and preparing for a ceremony. Whether measured in a laboratory or interpreted as a spiritual market, the mountain always broadcasts its eruptions. In late 2010, the mountain's broadcast grew deafening, and the two knowledge systems violently clashed. Seismic instruments recorded a massive spike in multi-phase earthquakes. The data warned scientists of a VEI-4 cataclysm, a highly explosive, violently destructive eruption. Despite the blaring scientific alarms, the revered traditional guardian, Ba Marijan, refused to evacuate. He trusted the old ways and the signs he knew, choosing to stay in his village on the slopes. The eruption was catastrophic. The volcano expelled massive, superheated pyroclastic flows that swept directly through the southern settlements. The guardian and 34 others perished in his village, swallowed by the fast-moving ash and gas. Relying strictly on tradition leaves a population blind to rare, massive anomalies. But relying strictly on science, without earning the cultural trust of the people, ensures those warnings are fatally ignored. In the aftermath of the 2010 disaster, a new Juru Kunci was appointed, Asinano, the son of the former guardian. He immediately introduced a new approach. He publicly declared that he would coordinate his spiritual duties with the government's Volcanology agency to protect human life. Today, when scientists detect high VP per VS anomalies, shifts in the velocity of primary and secondary seismic waves that indicate moving fluids, they do not just stare at their screens. They consult the village elders to ask if they have noticed any we seek. Hard seismic data and traditional environmental signs are now actively used together to trigger successful mass evacuations. Mount Merapi does not care which language you use to listen to it. It only demands that you listen. Surviving the world's most dangerous mountain requires the precision of modern science, anchored by the deep, enduring memory of the culture that calls it home. Dive deeper into the hidden secrets that shape our reality. Click the subscribe button, activate the bell, and see you in the next scientific investigation, only on TEMBODocs.